Welcome along to our Certificate in Sports Governance drop-in session. My name is Sam Green-Armitage. I am the Operations Officer here at the Sports Governance Academy, and with us today we've got Lizzie Butcher from Swim England. So Lizzie, I don't know if you'd like to introduce yourself to everyone.
Hi everyone, nice to meet you all, and looking forward to our Q&A session in a few minutes' time.
Yeah, so just to give you a quick lowdown on the agenda, I'm going to quickly rattle through these a bit of information on the certificate itself, how to apply, where the support is, all of this kind of stuff. And then I know you probably don't want to listen to me waffle on, so we'll then quickly go into Q&A with Lizzie, followed by a Q&A with yourselves. So let's get started. So what is the Certificate in Sports Governance? So it's a level 4 qualifications done by the Chartered Institute, UK and Ireland, and you can buy places on this yourself separately, but what we do at the SGA is we offer bursary places for individuals in the UK sport and physical activity sector. So if you are joining us from elsewhere in the world, or you don't have a role within the UK sports and physical activity sector, you can buy places on the course yourself. So the course is predominantly a self-study course, which includes 18 webinars and 2 assessments. So these 18 webinars are spread over the year from October until June. And the 2 assessments consist of a written assignment, which is 3,500 word report, and a 1-hour multiple choice exam. And this year, the certificate will be running from October, week commencing the 20th, until June. So that includes the assessment window as well, and results will be released in August. For those people who've done it this year, the results are coming out on Tuesday, I believe. So how to apply? So it's for many different roles. So we haven't, this isn't a exhaustive list, but it's anyone with governance or compliance responsibilities, or in positions that have that in the name, for example, but it could also include company secretaries, sport administrator, non-executive directors, sports development officers. If you are confused as to whether this would apply to you or not, please ask in the Q&A. If you do have responsibilities around this though, then yes, it will be a benefit. So yeah, and all the details can be found on our website. We've got quite an exhaustive page on our website, which I can just drag up for us now. So if you go to our website and go to the home page, our website is sportsgovernanceacademy.org.uk. You just need to go to learning, followed by the certificate in sports governance. And we've got these quick links at the top, as well as our application support area, which we're going to touch on in a moment, along with full details as opposed to who it's for, the outcomes, the level, what's in the content, and we'll mention these in a sec, but our practical students guide and our manager's guide. It tells you all about the assessment, bursaries, everything you could possibly want to know, even as far as the application criteria. You may refer to this as the mark scheme. So please, we really recommend you check this out before applying. And the application process, you can apply using our online form, which is very straightforward to do, but equally, if you're someone who would prefer to do your answers in another format, we can offer machine transcribed video call interviews, which would consist of us having a call with you. It would be transcribed automatically. We then check this and just, get rid of some of the ums and the ers from there, send it back to you for you to review, and then we would submit that based on your approval. If you do want to do this or have another preferred method that we haven't thought of ourselves, please do get in contact with us before the deadline, preferably at least a week before, so we can arrange a time that works for everyone. So, timelines. So, yeah, it starts on the week commencing 20th of October, and so the introduction and module 1 will run from then until about mid-December. And this will mostly consist of webinars and predominantly self-study. So there'll be a webinar once every week or once every 2 weeks. And then you'll be expected to be doing some self-study between these, with module 2 taking place over January, module 3 in Feb, and module 4 in March. And so the window for the written assignment, this isn't fully confirmed yet, but last year it was March until May. This does include a webinar covering the written assignment as well. So you get a webinar explaining the question, a few tips and tricks on how to do the report. And yeah, there's quite a generous window to complete this report. So if you are someone who's got plans for the last 2 weeks, don't worry, you'll be able to have ample time to do it. And then the multiple choice exam will take place likely in June, with May as a revision window. So once you hand in your written assignment, you then go on to the multiple choice exam. And that also has a webinar to go with it to talk you through it, as well as a practice setup. So you can you do these from home, but there are exam conditions. So they do send you a practice link so you can practice getting the room set up. So on the day, it's not all a bit of a panic when you realise you've got some things in the wrong place. So you can be nice and prepared. So we will move on to the next slide. So whilst this is a supposedly 200-hour course, it may take you a little bit longer, it may take you a little bit less time, and it's meant to be broken down 50 hours per module, including the assignment, which is, you know, great. But in terms of how this is going to affect your time, we wanted to break it down a bit further with a suggested outline of how we expect you to spend your time. So yeah, so each module we've broken down for the same amount of hours. There is more content and there are more webinars in module 1. However, because each module is equally weighted in the assessment, we don't recommend you spend more time on it than the others. And when we say office hours study commitment, what we mean by this is the amount of time during 9 till 5 hours that things will be happening. So all the webinars take place during these hours. They are available on catch up if you're unable to watch during these hours, but we do highly recommend you come along where you can. Obviously, sometimes meetings get in the way. That is the nature of things, which is why it's on demand. But if possible, it's great to get that interactive time. And then the out of office hour study, we would say would be your desk study. If your employer or your organisation offers extra study leave, then that's great. But we know this doesn't apply to a lot of people. So coming down a bit further, once we get to the assignment, we do recommend take 1 to 2 days of study leave if at all possible to complete this on top of the out of office study that you'll be doing, which will include the revision reading and extra time actually completing it. And there is also the 1-hour webinar. And just coming down to the multiple choice exam, yeah, there's a 1-hour webinar for this. And then although it's only a 1-hour exam, we do recommend you taking 2 hours to complete it, to include all the room setup, the practice room setup, as well as maybe a little bit of time to decompress afterwards, as I know they can be a little bit stressful. So application timelines, applications will open on the 19th of August, which I believe is Tuesday next week. They will then close at 11:59 p.m. on 11th of September 2025. So yeah, make sure you get them in before midnight. We will notify successful applicants on the 2nd of October. We will do our best to notify unsuccessful applicants as close to that as possible, but we just need to make allowances for if someone, for example, has a change of circumstance, but we need to offer a place to someone else. So we will try and notify successful applicants before this date, but depending on the volume of applications, this may not be possible. And then you will know how you've got on by the 9th of October, because that's the deadline for acceptance of places. The only way we won't make an exception on this, for example, is if we can't get hold of someone or they've got a clear out of office on their email. So don't panic too much if you're waiting on this date, but please do inform us if at all possible. And the course begins on I think it's on the 21st of October, but it's definitely that week. What's changed since last year? So we've added the practical applicant and manager guides to the website. What these are designed to be is that the practical applicant guide is to give you all the details around the practicalities of the course. So that includes the suggested time breakdown, some information about what's in the course, and then also what our policies are on deferrals, and if you do need to drop out or delay to another year. If you think this is likely, we would encourage you to apply the year after, but we understand that life happens and we have adjustments in place for this. So please consult this if need be. And if you are going to drop out at any point during the course, we really would ask that you inform us so that we can look at options to support you. And in good news for all of you coming along today, We have more full certificate places available. So we've increased from 18 up to 30. So there's the best chance there's ever been to get on the full certificate. And we've stopped doing the places on standalone modules because we're finding these weren't as popular. So we've allocated all of that to the full certificate. So quick bit of application support. So if you're on the website, we have a full tips and tricks guide that you can use to get the best out of your question. There's also obviously the mark scheme or application criteria, however you want to refer to it. But we also have some AI guidance and an AI policy. So the guidance gives you some help in terms of how to use it and how to use it safely with your report, with your application, as you may be using sensitive organizational data. So be careful. And there's also a policy which you can read on there and have to accept as part of your application. And just a quick note on this is that it's easy to spot when someone's just gone, ChatGPT, please answer this based on this mark scheme. They're really easy to spot. It's very buzzwordy. It doesn't know a lot about you or your organization or your context. So whilst it might write you an okay one, they're quite easy to spot. And also just a reminder that just copying it is plagiarism. So please do use them for bouncing off ideas. Please use it if you can use it safely for checking your answers and your formatting, but please don't just do it to write the whole thing. So that's everything from me. I will stop sharing my screen and we can go to the Q&A section of this. I'm just going to check the Q&A. Yes, Junaid, the webinars are recorded to watch later. There is also not an attendance mark as part of the certificate. There used to be. I know Lizzie had that, but that has been removed now. So whilst in theory you could watch it all on catch up, we would highly recommend not doing so. But obviously that's going to happen with some of the webinars. So let's just get these up. So yeah, welcome Lizzie. Nice to see you. I hope everyone else is still with us. So just if you could give us a bit of an idea as to when you did the certificate, how you found the time commitment and some of the practicalities of attending webinars or watching them on catch up.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Sam, and obviously the Sports Governance Academy. So in terms of time commitment, I was obviously a bit nervous about this at first, especially alongside my day job, but it actually turned out to be quite surprisingly really manageable. The seminars were spaced out enough to allow that time for reflection and application without feeling overwhelmed. I believe there was a few weeks in between each seminars. Some were slightly longer in terms of that time frame, which was actually really beneficial, again, just to allow for reflection and application. I often found that I could apply the seminar content straight away, especially in my support work with clubs, and it really helped that stick. I found as well that treating it like any other CPD and protecting time in my personal and work diary also made it quite doable. If I couldn't make a seminar, as Sam said, I know that was a question in the Q&A, it wasn't a huge issue. We could catch up online, which was useful because obviously we can't prepare for those emergency meetings, but it was really beneficial to attend in person, as you could ask questions and get live feedback and answers, but also support from your peers as well, which I found really surprisingly useful. I suppose as an organisation, Swim England employees, we're very lucky because we benefit from study leave. I did use this to help with any extra reading or tasks, and also use the rest for seminars and the MCQ exam, so multiple choice question exam. And I also use some of these outside of my normal working hours, but I didn't actually use all of them. So yeah, that shows that actually you don't need to have study leave as well for your organisation.
No, fab. And just a quick one on the report. How did you find managing that around your work as well?
Yeah, I thought that was actually quite, again, really manageable, just because actually you could add and build to the content as the course went on. You could go back on some of those seminars and just review some of that. So the report was actually really easy, really manageable again. We had a time frame in which it had opened. So it was from October, I believe, to I think it was end of October, beginning of November to December. I'm saying like we only did this last year, but it seems like such a long way away. But yeah, so we had a few months, and actually, again, it was really manageable, just because we've already learnt some of that, and then moving forward, we could then add to that learning.
No, in fact, just to give you guys some context, I have done it this year, and for those of you less organised than Lizzie and a bit more like myself, it's not something you can. It's the report, whilst it is manageable, it's 3,500 words. You might think, oh, I used to do this a lot when, back when you studied before. It does take a bit more than a weekend. I didn't quite try and do it in that time frame, but I did leave it a bit too last minute and did have to pay with some weekends. So would really recommend keeping up to date and staying ahead when you get round to that. So, Lizzie, in terms of if you were to put yourself in the position of all the people on this call who, well, I guess you had even less information because it was the first time we'd run the revamped certificate,
Yeah.
but how did you hope it would benefit you before taking the course, and how has this panned out?
So really good question. So before I started, I hoped it would give me a more, I suppose, structured understanding of governance. So not just theory, but how to apply it confidently in real situations. And it actually really did deliver on that. I came away with a much better grasp of how good governance underpins everything within sport, but also just in the general world. We learned a lot at the beginning of the course, which I wasn't actually expecting, around just general governance, not just applied in sport. But for me, it was around coming away with the tools to explain the why to our clubs, which is really important. So, for example, why we review policies and why particular policies exist. Some of the reading contained a lot of that information, which was really useful. I found managing risks the most interesting topic. I learned a lot from what is actually needed in a risk register, and have applied that to the organisation as well.
Oh, fab. And was there anything that just any unexpected benefits that came from the course?
Oh, I suppose the real life examples and case studies. So they almost made me feel more confident in backing up my advice, as I knew it worked in, I suppose, the real world. I also learned a lot from other people, which I wasn't expecting. So those peers on the course, and obviously Tara, who was there on Tuesday, they shared experiences, and more often than not, they also had a similar issue which they had learnt from, in which they could share as well. And that was so handy. Some of them were various experiences in governance. They've either been at board level or they've been at club level supporting clubs with their general governance. So actually, there was a wide range of experiences who could then share what they had learned, which was really, really useful.
No, fab. And also just wanted to give a bit of context on Lizzie's first answer, around the first bit on general governance. So module one is on core governance. So it really revolves around general governance skills. And there's these this year you'll be in classrooms with people on other level four qualifications as well. So it's maybe a good opportunity to network and to learn from other sectors too. But then modules two, three, and four are all sports specific. So Lizzie, in terms of like, I know it's not too long on since you passed it, but in terms of your kind of like wider professional development and career trajectory, how has this kind of fitted within that, and has it benefited at all yet?
Yeah, so I suppose we only received our results in February, as Sam said, so it's too early to tell how it has helped me longer term. However, on the course, there were a few seminars around the role of the board. It helped me to understand that next level of organisational governance a lot better, which will be a great boost to my professional development. But in terms of the course, it came at the right time for me. I was already working with clubs on things like constitutions, committee roles, safeguarding, etc. So I saw governance in action all of the time, but I hadn't had any formal training. So doing the course helped me link all of those experiences to a clearer governance framework. And I guess that's made me a better I suppose practitioner, if you could call me that. So yeah, although I'm not on a board yet, there is always that potential longer term when it's now an area I understand a lot better.
Fab. And just one final question from me. So for some of the people on this, I know at Swim England you get quite a bit of study leave, so it's maybe a bit easier to justify it to the organisation. But for those of you on the call who maybe don't have as generous study leave policies, who have to justify it to your manager or your team or your organisation that you're going to spend this time on it, what are the kind of benefits to your organisation more widely?
So from an organizational point of view, it's definitely added value in terms of being able to offer a more informed strategic approach to clubs. And it means that we're seeing stronger governance. So this does actually link in with our Swim England strategy. So One Swim England, which we launched towards the back end of last year. So one of those goals is to have stronger clubs as well as trusted safeguarding and welfare. So although this is a metric which needs to be measured over a longer period, it has enabled me to better serve our clubs in this area straight away. And then this obviously contributes then to that longer term goal. It gave me tools I could bring back to our organisation. So templates, case studies, identifying gaps in policies and decision-making processes. We've started to share this insight a lot more widely as well. So, for example, I'm going to mention risk registers again, because that's just where my passion lies now following the course. But I've applied this to our county governance code, which has strengthened their governance. So although I don't sit on the board myself, the ripple effect of my learning has actually benefited a lot of the clubs and volunteers. So for organisations thinking about whether to support someone through the course, it's a smart investment. Even if you don't have study leave, you're not just upskilling one person, but you're lifting the quality of governance across all of those areas that obviously they support.
Smashing. Cheers, Lizzie. And yeah, if any of you do need to have that conversation with someone where you work to, check the timings on it, that's what we've created the manager's guide for, so you can help get that support the whole way through. Because what we don't want is people getting through to module 3, module 4, realizing they're way behind, and then it gets the assessment and then they either don't show up and don't do it, which is the worst case scenario. And then again, people then realizing, oh gosh, I need to defer. So if you ever do need to do that, please do inform us. But yeah, we really encourage you to have a conversation early doors to work out how you can get support the whole way through. So we'll now move swiftly on to the Q&A. What I'm going to do is, if you put them in the Q&A tab, I'm going to start from the bottom and work my way up to the top chronologically. So if you do have a question, please just whack it in there, whether it's while we're speaking or not. That would be great. So the first question I can answer myself. So just to check. So 35 hours required in January. 4 of those are webinars, so 31 hours that month is desk study. So these are recommended timings. You may find one module a lot easier than another. Module 2, which is in January, is Introduction to Sports Governance. So you may be a bit more familiar with that, given the audience that we have, so that you may find that a bit more straightforward. But also, no one is mandating you spend 31 hours. If you wanted to spend 50, you could spend 50. If you wanted to spend 5 and catch up later, this is just what is recommended to get the full knowledge out of the course. So yeah, none of that is quote unquote mandatory, but it is like what is recommended to do all the learning. So the next question, your organisation is offered to pay for this in order to ensure you get a place. Is this how it works, or is this the application process? So if you would like to pay for place, you can just do that on the Chartered Governance Institute website. Let me just find the link. UKI certificate in sports governance. And I'll pop that in the chat for you. So if you do just want to buy it straight up, you can just do that. But you can also apply for this and then buy it in time for it starting if you don't get it. So I will just pop that in the chat now. So if we go back to Q&A. Next one, is the exam open or closed book? The multiple choice exam is closed book as part of, I'm sure you had the same, Lizzie, I remember doing it. Yeah, you've got to film pretty extensively around the room you're in to make sure there's no distractions, no notes written down, but the assignment itself is open book and is designed to be so as well. So next one, did you get paid study leave, Lizzie?
Good question. So it was part of our general leave. So in answer to that, yes, I suppose. But actually, we only had a set number of hours that we could use. And as part of that, like I said at the beginning, in terms of how that was allocated, I actually only used a few for the seminars that were put on during the day, which I mainly took in my lunch break. And then in terms of the additional hours that I had, I used that for general reading and taking off a little bit of time towards the end of the day to do some extra reading, and then also just go through some of the things that we went through in the seminars. So yes, short answer, which I'm very lucky to have, but alternatively, not much of those hours were actually used because it does tie in with our other hours, volunteer hours as well. So I only had about 10 hours in total throughout to use.
No, fab. Yeah, and some people have a more casual approach with it. It's just they'll be told like, yeah, you can go along to the webinars unless something important is going on. So yeah, it's worth having that conversation. So the next question, Lizzie, did you find that there were opportunities outside of the seminars to connect with other colleagues on the course to aid your reflection, learning, and application? This person has found that connecting with people they've met on the other SGA courses is really beneficial.
Yes, definitely. There was plenty of opportunity and time. So we actually had an online forum or platform where we had the opportunity to connect with those on our course. We could actually ask questions. We could potentially ask questions that we're facing within our organisation, and then obviously they would answer. It was almost like a forum, and it was really useful to connect. We also attended actually the sports governance session in, I believe it was Birmingham. I think, Sam, wasn't it?
The conference.
The conference, yeah, which was brilliant. And I think about 5 people on our course were there. So again, we had that opportunity to connect, which was really good. So yeah, we definitely had that opportunity, and the forum was really useful.
No, and the other part of that as well, there's the Learning Management System Forum, which is great for whilst you're learning and to stay in contact. Obviously, if you want to add each other on LinkedIn, you can. But we do have an alumni group set up on the Huddle, our forum on our website, which you can just find on the website by going to Community and then the Huddle. So yeah, you'd be given a link to be added to that if you so wish to stay in touch going forwards. And does the course focus primarily on the Sport England Code of Sports Governance or governance more generally? Lizzie, I'll pass that one over to you.
Yeah, so essentially it does have a bit of both. So what Sam mentioned earlier, you have the first module, which covers generally governance more generally. So for example, corporate governance and what that looks like in that world. But then the next few modules, they do focus on sports governance more specifically. And there are many references to the Code of Sports Governance. And then we break that down even further. So at a board level, there's many different learnings to take away and at different levels as well. So yes, a bit of both, but more so sport, kind of sport governance, the last 2.
Yeah, so just to build on that, yeah, so whilst, for example, if you've ever done essential sports governance, that is teaching sports governance through the code largely, whereas the certificate is teaching more about sports governance more generally. but obviously does refer to the code at points because it's massively influential and affects many organisations in the UK. So it doesn't act like it doesn't exist, but equally it's not, you know, a certificate in the code for sports governance, so to speak. So I can't see any more questions in the Q&A. So if anyone's got them, please put them in there. If you prefer to ask it, just warning you, you would be on record. I can, if you use the raise hand function, I can enable your microphone and camera. But if not, I'll give it another 30 seconds and then we may call this today. But thank you very much, everyone who has come along and who is still with us. Yeah, if you have any questions on this going forward that you don't think of immediately, please drop us an email to info@sportsgovernanceacademy.org.uk and either myself or Craig will be able to answer you. Just a reminder that the closing date will be I've just forgotten off the top of my head. Will be the 11th of September at 11:59 p.m. And then we've got one more question is, do you have any further information on the bursary? So the bursary is for those in the is open to those in the sport and physical activity sector in the UK. So if you're involved in the sports and physical activity sector in the UK, then you can apply for it. And if you want help writing your application for the bursary, for example, please, like, what you can, if you've got two screens, have the application criteria up on one and the question up on another, because that will really help you get the most out of it. And read the question and answer the question. You'll be amazed at how many people just answer their own question when they send in these applications, and whilst they may touch on the things that we're looking for, it really makes a difference to answer what's there. We think we've got all the information online to not just reward people that are strong at expressing themselves in the written word and good at filling out forms. We like to think we think that we've got enough resources there for those who even struggle with that, for example, and can still get their answers out succinctly. But yeah, if you have any further questions, please do drop us an email and we will be able to help out. But it doesn't look like there are any more questions. Looks like the chat is just people saying thank you and goodbye. So I will call it a day here. Thank you very much for your time today, and thanks for coming along. We hope to see you in future. If you are thinking of coming along to any SGA events, we have the conference in Leeds on the 13th of November, and that will be free, whether you join online or in person. So if you're able to see us, please do come along. And if not, we hope to see you online. So yeah, I'm going to click end event in a second, which will mean you'll get an automated voice, and that will bring it to a close. So thank you very much, everyone.
Thanks, Phil.
And I hope you have a great rest of your day.